It gives me great pleasure now to introduce our speaker, Mason Van Houweling. Mason is the CEO of University Medical Center, which has become one of the leading and most profitable county hospitals in America. Mason leads a team, a very diverse team of nearly 4,200 employees. Exactly. The most I ever had to manage was 30, and that was way too many. So they deliver Nevada's highest level of care to our community. UMC's highly specialized services, in addition to many off-site quick care, which I'm sure many of you have had to take advantage of every now and then when you've had a spill. And other specialty services include Nevada's only level 1 trauma center, the state's only verified burn center, a children's hospital, and Nevada's only center for transplantation. Mason's 24-year U.S. Air Force Reserves member who retired in 2020 as Lieutenant Colonel. Thank you for your service, Mason. And he was deployed to Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. Mason's healthcare career spans 30 years. He's served on numerous state health boards, national and state health boards, including a statewide chair for the Nevada Hospital Association, and most recently, which I think is an incredible honor and coup for our state and county, Mason was elected to the Board of Trustees of the American Hospital Association, and their primary mission is to advance the health of all individuals and communities. He'll begin his 3-year term on January 1st, so we're very excited about that. Mason and his wife Denise have 2 beautiful daughters, both of whom went to Faith Lutheran and Faith Lutheran graduates. So please, would everyone give a warm CBN welcome to Mason Van Houweling.
All right, well, just this is UMC today. Anybody driven by UMC recently or driven on Charleston? I'm not responsible for all the road work, so I do get blamed for that, but this is UMC, kind of what we look like today. But well, I'd like to start with UMC's history. Again, this is your hospital. This is UMC back in 1931. We started out with 1 doctor, 1 nurse, taking care of the workers of the Boulder Dam. It was a 20-bed hospital ward unit. You can see our nurse there on the right there on Charleston, and in fact, it's where our outpatient surgery department is today. And I love Vegas history, I love UMC's history, and again, it was all just ranch land behind it. Fast forward to 1941, we were renamed to Clark County Indigent Hospital, and then Clark County General Hospital in the 50s. Many people still remember us as Southern Nevada Memorial Hospital, when people talk to me about Southern Nevada Memorial Hospital. And then in 1986, we changed our name to reflect our academic mission at UMC as the premier teaching hospital in 1986. So again, great history there. So UMC is home to a lot of first and onlys. We do take pride in being the highest level of care in the state of Nevada. So we're the only level 1 trauma center, and I'm going to talk a little bit about our trauma center. We are a verified burn center. For the longest time, we were the only burn center in the state of Nevada, and we partner with the Lions Burn Center. I'll talk a little bit about them, but another hospital in town does some burn, but not full time. Sometimes they swing those beds, but we have a dedicated burn unit, both outpatient and inpatient. We are the home to the only transplant center. So when I go out to the community, a lot of people will say, hey, you guys did my kidney transplant 15 years ago. We do pancreas. We are on a journey to do liver transplants. Unfortunately, Nevadans have to leave the state, either to Arizona, California, Utah, to do a liver transplant, and I'm very confident within the next 2 years we'll be able to do livers as well. We've hired a lot around that. We are the Heart Hospital of Nevada. We do close to 600 open heart cases, and that's impressive. You don't want to go to a hospital that does 5 a year. You want to go to somebody who's doing a lot. And I'll talk a little bit about what we're doing there and some of the innovation and technology that you'll see on the commercials. Talking about cardiovascular care or heart care. We're doing those type of things. When you see those commercials, know that UMC's already embraced a lot of that technology. The largest military and civilian partnership. I'm going to talk a little bit about that as well, but we are the premier training ground for Air Force medics. And we partner with Nellis, but also partner with special operations, so things that they see in the battlefield, penetrating trauma, burns, they get that training here at UMC. Fortunately, Nellis is a great hospital, served out there myself, but often they'll just see, the ankle injury out of the gym, and it's 22-year-old, so they're not seeing the things that they would see on the front battle lines. We are the state's largest public hospital. There are a few other hospitals that are public throughout the community, mostly in the rural areas, but we are the largest public hospital. Going to talk about our teaching mission. We're very proud of teaching the next generation of healthcare workers. And then our lab is amazing. Probably most of you have been a patient at UMC during the pandemic. You may or may not know that, but we either did your vaccination or we did your lab work. We were sending it off the CDC early on. You take 3 weeks to hear back from them, or the health district could only do 200 a day. We were able to get up to over 10,000 tests, and you were getting your results in 2 hours. So we were very nimble, which is kind of nice to be able to do that. This is our mission, vision, and values. I mean, many of you in your businesses have those. We're here to serve the community in a learning-focused way. Our goal is to be the premier academic medical center in Nevada, and our values are compassion, accountability, integrity, and respect. So we preach that every single day at UMC. This is just a little bit of our numbers, what we do on an annual basis, just kind of at a glance. You can see, we will see most of our patients outside of UMC, even though we've got 1800 West Charleston, which is kind of the mothership, and hope nobody ever has to go there unless to deliver a baby. But we see most of our patients out in the community. So we're trying to go to areas that people do not have access. And so we'll see them in our quick care, our primary care. We see our fair share of trauma patients. Again, we've got close to 5,000 employees. It's quite a big enterprise there at UMC. Okay, let me start with the trauma center. Anybody been to our trauma center? Okay. Either visit or as a patient. And I get that a lot when I go out and speak. And it is special. It is the gem of UMC. It's the gem of our Southern Nevada. We service a 10,000 square mile radius, so we will see patients from California, Utah, Arizona, and all through Nevada. Very proud of our survival rate. It kind of teeters 97, 98, but survival rate, it's amazing. You'll see somebody coming in and wow, they're not going to make it. And then you see them walking out or on crutches or getting back in their car. So, and some of these patients, it's amazing, had a 1% chance of surviving. Again, I probably got about 16 to 20 doctors back at the hospital, in the building or in standby within 15 to 30 minutes to come in and see a patient. We care for 14,000 patients annually. And then some of those patients get admitted. But what's special about this building is a lot of trauma centers, they're embedded in emergency departments. So you could have a doctor taking care of a runny nose or somebody that sewing up a laceration, and then everything stops for that trauma. And so this building, it is a standalone facility. It's the only one west of the Mississippi. So this is fully contained, purposely built to take care of trauma patients. Helicopter pad there on the top. We are the hospital for every major event. We just had F1, the 4th of July, Super Bowl, EDC, you name it. We are the hospital for the president, so we often have Secret Service in. We've got a very good relationship with Capitol Police and others. So again, it's an amazing place and interesting stat though, and maybe you can come to your own conclusions, but close to 80% of the patients that we see are male. So you can kind of come to your own conclusions. Either we're taking risky behavior, we're not making good decisions, but that's another stat that we try. So the males keep up busy, but again, the women are making much better choices than we are. So, but again, it's a special place. There are 3 trauma centers, actually 4 trauma centers in the valley. UMC is level 1. Sunrise is level 2, and they run a great shop. And Sienna is a level 3. And then we've also recently, in the last 5 years, helped support Nellis Air Force Base to become a level 3 trauma center. So what's really cool is if you live up in that area, we've got the military that was typically closed. You couldn't get on the base gate. So if there's trauma that happens up in a certain part of North Las Vegas, in that area, they're taking care of our community members. So forever grateful for the Air Force doing that. So, okay. This is our bird center. And by the way, all these photos, these are not stock photos, or these are true patients or doctors caring for, and nurses caring for our staff. But we partner with the Lions Burn Center. Typically they're more involved in glasses and getting those out to communities that don't have it. But this has been a relationship with the Lions Burn Center for well over 60 years. And we value our partnership, especially with the local chapters here. Again, they see their fair share of patients, and a lot of outpatient too on wound therapies and other. And this is Vladimir. This is him. We did a I Survive campaign maybe about 6 or 7 years ago. That's Vladimir. When he came in, he always comes back every year to support. But real quick story about him. I can see this as being a risky young boy myself. One evening he was. Him and his mom were in the living room. She stepped away. She had a candle on the coffee table. He was in his pajamas. He, as inquisitive as young boys are, decided to see what hairspray that candle would do. So you know where this leads to. And his pajamas caught 80% burns over his body. But he's doing great. He comes back. But these are kind of stories you hear every day. I was with a patient yesterday, and it's in the RJ, and we try to reunite, the providers. But if you look at the news yesterday, there was a gentleman named Carmen. Earlier in March, he was driving. He drives an 18-wheeler, 18-rig-wheeler north of Pahrump. It was about midnight. Unfortunately, he was shot on the 2-lane road by an individual that you won't hear the full story, but that individual went on a 3-day rampage. Shot somebody in California, shot Carmen up in north of Pahrump, and then somebody in Las Vegas. That individual's now in Clark County Jail and will be making his rounds. But Carmen's driving his 18-wheeler, shot by this individual on the road. Thought a rock hit his truck. So for about 15 minutes, Carmen, he had cameras and they were trying to get the guy's plate. Reaches over, is bleeding. The bullet, 40 caliber bullet, entered one side of his body, missed pretty much everything that could have been hit: his heart, spine, liver, kidney, esophagus, and lodged in his other side. This individual, Carmen, again, if you get a chance to read his story yesterday, drove himself to Pahrump Police, Nye County Sheriff's Office. He walks in. He's on the phone, 911. He's smart enough to say, hey, I'm not going to pull over. I'm going to drive back because he's north of Pahrump, and by the time they get out, he could have lost his life. So drove back to, and Mercy Air lifted him out to UMC, and he was reunited with the staff, nurses, and everything. But again, just very lucky and blessed as well. So, but these are kind of the stories that happen every single day at UMC. But if you get a chance to read that, but great story. Our transplant center, this is Dr. Patel. I got him out of New York, recruited him from New York, and he literally has saved hundreds and hundreds of lives. So, and our transplant center was recognized in 2023 as one of the top transplant centers in the nation. Not only in one category, but 2 out of 3. And I think the third, we were like 3rd place, but probably the 2 most important is survivability and time to transplant. So other states, you could be waiting 10, 15 years. Our wait list is about 2 years. We've got a very generous community. Without a donor network, it's a lot of people signing up for organ donation, and a lot of that's saving Nevada lives. So again, really great work that the Transplant Center is doing. We have grown our medical group, but when I got to UMC, we had about 40 employed physicians. We're close to 400 now. Some of it by design, some of it of necessity, some of it physician shortage, but Here's some of the doctors that we have. We have radiologists. We're starting a radiology residency. And so behind all these, we're trying to grow the doctor shortage and be a part of training them here and retaining doctors here in Nevada. So these are some of the things that we've been able to employ, which has not been easy. Some of these doctors get into non-competes and they're off limits, so we're trying to support our medical community. But this has been a big growth area for us. So our UMC Quick Care, not sure if you've been to one of those, and don't tell the trauma team or the burn team, but this is what patients rave to me the most. Our Quick Cares, I was in your Quick Care last night, had a great experience. We've got them throughout the valley. This is where we take care of your aches, pains, bumps, and bruises. Get in, get out, get better quick. So we are going to continue to grow these Quick Cares. We've got 2 more locations that we're looking at, but we're trying to go where people are not. And then often people ask me, why aren't you getting these freestanding emergency rooms? Why aren't you, adding these ERs? We do not believe in that model. First of all, it's very expensive. We have a lot of capability in our Quick Cares. We have X-ray. It's staffed by doctors. It's staffed by RNs. We've got Epic. We've got we're able to do codes in those areas. So again, we got medication. So we can do a lot. We are looking at a 24-hour Quick Care on Charleston. A lot of the payers, a lot of self-funded payers, some of you may be part of those insurance plans, have come to me and say, hey, we need something 24 hours, and we're willing to support you in that. So there's the CVS, the old CVS on Charleston, that we are leasing that building, and that's going to be a 24-hour Quick Care for patients that want to, and then we're also going to add pediatrics in that too. There's not too many pediatric Quick Cares. Primary care, this is the doctors you know and love for so many years that you take care of your routine things, your checkups, your labs, your medications, and we've got an app. If you ever hear you can't get into a primary care doctor, that's just not true. Go to UMC, go to your app store, download Epic, UMC's Epic, and literally you can get in almost same day, next day with primary care. It may not be the one that's right around the corner, but we can get you in our valley somewhere. Establish a visit. Online care. So we were not in the online care business, or telemedicine is what it's referred to. Although the pandemic hit and we realized that patients needed care, but were afraid to come to the hospital or couldn't leave their home. So our online care is a great way to be able to see a doctor. I think our wait time right now is like 7 minutes, 8 minutes to be treated. And these are things that you can call in from your bed or your office if you're not feeling well, and get prescriptions sent to wherever you're at. So the federal government's not a big fan of telemedicine. They still want you to come in the office, and so they're rolling back some of these telemedicine rules, and some of it's expiring. So we're going to continue to be in it, but it's often not supported by Medicare and some other Medicaid as well. So, but we believe in it because there's a lot of things you can do via online care. This is Dr. Vera. She is one of our orthopedic surgeons, so we've got 20 of the best orthopedic surgeons in the state of Nevada. It's amazing. We've got 2 orthopedic clinics, so whether it's sports medicine, hip, knee, shoulder, elbow, hand, we've got the best. And why she was she was a ballerina. So she took this for us, and but we're seeing a lot of sports medicine as well. So probably see us marketing a little bit more sports medicine. But again, and these are the doctors that take care of trauma patients, elective patients, all those things. So all that added up, this is kind of where we cover the valley on all those locations. One of the new ones here on 16 is our crisis stabilization. Obviously, we know there's a lot of mental health issues here in the community. We're trying to help solve that problem. Often patients that are in mental health crisis or some type of medication crisis are often taken to very busy emergency rooms. They have to be medically cleared to make sure they're not having a stroke or heart attack. And then they'll wait for hours and hours and hours to find the right mental health services. So towards Sunrise Mountain up on Nellis, we built a crisis stabilization center, and so patients are going there directly with therapists and doctors and psychiatrists, and the average, we have chairs, and they're very comfortable chairs, that we put patients in, and within 5 hours they're already placed in where they need to go, and their medications managed, versus tying up emergency rooms. So that's one thing that we're gotten into. That's not your typical acute care hospital business, but county came to us and said, can you help us solve a problem? So we did. Children's Hospital, there's a lot of talk about children's hospitals, and I'd be glad to take any questions about Intermountain coming in or pediatric care, but again, our children's hospital is very special. It's around the clock, board certified pediatricians in our emergency room, our ICU, throughout the hospital on the floors. There's the cardiac, that's Dr. San with Nevada Heart and Vascular. They're our major partner on taking care of cardiovascular disease, and again, we are the Heart Hospital of Nevada, and really we've got residents and fellows around that, so there's a huge team that supports cardiac care. Dr. Carmen Flores, this is the Da Vinci 5 robot. Anybody hear about the Da Vinci robot? Anybody want to take a guess on how much that cost? Maybe I shouldn't, I don't be recorded, but a lot. That's about a $3.4 million robot. Yeah, but it is what you want. You're back on your feet quicker, less the days of having a hernia surgery, your abdomen. I mean, they're going in with trocars less blood loss, more accuracy, and the reason why we have this, and we have a console next to it. So the doctor is actually on the other side of the room performing surgery with the articulating arms, but we also have a console, like a jump seat in a plane, and we're teaching surgery residents from UNLV, general surgery, on how to do these things as they see them go out. So again, you can do a lot: urology, bariatric, GYN, thoracic. I do believe that we'll be doing robotic heart surgeries in the future, but we're not there yet. Military medicine, I think this is my last slide. So this is Dr. Colonel Street. She is Stephanie Street. She's a trauma surgeon. This picture is actually a little dated, but this, I'm probably a little emotional, but after October 1. So we remember October 1. We had 104 patients come into UMC. Everybody that arrived alive survived at UMC. Very proud of that. But what I saw that night is we had Air Force medics taking care of our community. They saved a lot of lives. So again, this is Colonel Street. Be glad to talk about October 1 and lessons learned from that too. But right now I have about 60 Air Force medics, nurses, technicians training side by side with UMC. You can't even tell. They're so good. And we give them full privileges and work together with them. Last slide, academic medicine. So we have over 340 residents that train at UMC. No other hospital does more, in 20 different programs. So psychiatry, internal medicine, general surgery, family medicine, cardiology. So again, and this is Dr. Assad. She's our head infectious disease doctor. So with that concludes the PowerPoint, but really would love to hear your questions, and I don't know how we're doing on time, Robin, too, so I can stay as long as you like, but be glad to answer any questions. But thank you for supporting UMC. It is your hospital. I always say that we are, you got some hospitals that are investor-owned or shareholder-owned. I always say we don't have shareholders, we have careholders in the community. So it is really your hospital. So we're doing well. Every dollar that is cash flow positive, it's reinvested in the hospital. It's not leaving the state of Nevada, but I know we had a question here. Go ahead.
Yeah, Mason, obviously having known you for quite a while, and I've been here in the state for 40 years, and I'm a student of healthcare. So I'll try not to be too vague in my question, but in the last 10 years, under your leadership, UMC has made phenomenal strides. So my general vague question is, what do you think were the key ingredients to helping you guys get there?
Yeah, so great question. Firstly, always a team effort. We really, go back to 2014, and I think many of you remember the headlines, right? UMC $100 million losses, and that was not just one year, that was pretty much every year. It ranged from 80 to $120 million. UMC has never been cash flow positive. I don't say make money because some people get upset at that you're doing that as a public hospital, but I assure you that your tax dollars are not going into fund basic operations. And I think we were talking about that. Because I always felt like, hey, she could stand on her own, and that was a conversation that at the time Steve Sisolak, who was the chairman, or governor too, and there was times that they wanted to actually close UMC. There was serious talk. It made headlines, and I talked to Steve, a good friend of mine. I said, look, let me have a run at it, but I can get her standing on the operation side, but I need capital. We were only getting $1 million worth of capital a year, and it's through a gaming resolution that was about to expire in 15. But people will say, hey, you got lucky because of Obamacare or Affordable Care Act, or it was none of that, because all that went away for us. We were getting reimbursed. If you look at your property bill, you see two things that we don't tap into any of that today. UMC used to, but it was a process. But I'd say it's about 10 things. We needed to run the hospital like a business. It is a business. We needed to get smarter with our contracts. We weren't getting paid from the insurance companies what we needed to get paid on covering our costs and our. We trimmed some labor. We did a layoff back then, one of the biggest layoffs, 2% of the workforce. UMC didn't respond to what happened in the Great Recession. We got smarter on where we're heading. We got tough with the insurance companies. We controlled our supply costs. There was a whole list of 10 things that we did. We retrained all of our staff. Like, hey, we can't have a mentality that we're the last hospital to treat somebody because nobody else is going to, honestly. And I saw that when I came on board. It's like, no. People have choices, they have options. So we have an I Care For You program. It's not like, 50 hours of training. It's not 10 books. It's the basic things that you learned in elementary school, you learned in church, right? Be nice to others, the golden rule, wash your hands, all that stuff. It's like all the things that you learned when you were a kid, and just treat people how you would like to be treated, that they're family. So I always say that was the biggest thing, that people started believing in us again, like giving us a try. But there's about 10 things, Bruce, that we can go through. And again, very proud that every dollar that we invest goes back to support the community, the infrastructure, doesn't leave the states, employing jobs. So, thank you.
I have a question before
Sure.
I give it to Mark over here. Congratulations again on being appointed, or elected rather, to the Board of Trustees with the American Hospital Association. How will that role for the next 3 years benefit our community here in our county and throughout Nevada?
Yeah, so the American Hospital, so we have the Nevada Hospital Association that represents 70 hospitals in the state of Nevada. We all work really well together, even though we're competitors, like the Resorts Association and Nevada Hospital. We work really well together. The American Hospital is kind of like the parent of everything. So Nevada has not had a representative ever on the trustees of the American Hospital Association. So not only of that is I'm the representative for Region 9, which includes, I represent the whole West Coast. So Alaska, Hawaii, Oregon, Washington, California, Nevada. So on policy, which then gets you a seat on the board. So there's a lot of programs that are unique to Nevada, 340B, disproportionate share, all those things. So we're going to have a full voice on a very, it's only a 12-member board. So now we've got some leverage there to advocate for our state. I'll tell you, it's interesting. You see what's going on in California and Washington, Oregon, and you kind of come back and you're like, wow, we have a tough job. They have the things that they're doing, and some of the things you talked about and related to healthcare. We're very fortunate that we're still a small state, and that I love our state. That somebody that I know. It's 1 degree separation. It's not that but yeah, it's going to help Nevada get more of a spotlight. So, one question here.
Yeah, hi. Hi, Mason. My name is Mark. My Base Magazine. And I'm blown away watching your career over the last number of years, and I've met you on several occasions, and I'm so excited to come here today and listen to you and talk about UMC. And I've been here since '57 in Vegas, and born and raised, and my 2 daughters were born at Southern Nevada Memorial Hospital. By accident, I still call it that every now and then. But a couple of things, and now I'm on the board with the Nevada Donor Network at the foundation. And I'd like to know about your how do you view your relationship with the Nevada Donor Network, for one, and then I have another question after that.
Yeah, no, and we love your publication, obviously, and you've done some great healthcare stories for Southern Nevada. I'm on the board of Nevada Donor Network as well, on another committee, and they do really good work. In fact, we had our board meeting last week. They are really advancing the campus that's on Sahara. Where they're going to be doing a donation centers, and they're doing a lot of things that are employing Nevadans here, but also bringing down the cost of healthcare around donations and transplants. So again, we've got a very good relationship with them, and they run a really good organization. So and they're working with every hospital in the state, both Las Vegas and Reno as well.
But there's not a lot of doctors in Nevada that do transplants, is that right?
Correct. Pretty much everybody that we, around the transplant world, we've got to recruit outside. And, it's not only convincing the doctor, it's convincing their spouse. And, hey, there's great schools like Faith Lutheran. It's a little bit, once they get here though, they see how close-knit community you are. And you take a little personal time. You can move them out of Chicago, you can move them out of San Francisco, you can move them out of New York or wherever. And these are some of the best trained. I mean, these doctors that the pedigree is amazing.
Well, after I'd like to get your card, you can be here after I'd like to get your card.
Yeah, I will. Yep.
I want to do a cover story on you and your on everything you've done for Vegas. You're so awesome. My last question is, I had an RN and a nurse practitioner, a couple other friends who worked in the trauma center there over the years, and it's a tough job because they see stuff that we don't all see. So I'm sure there's an element of stress, mental stress, if not turned into mental concerns. Do you have to, or do you have a program for taking care of those physicians that have to see that stuff every day? And how do you take care of them and their head, make sure they go home happy?
Yeah, we certainly have a lot of that, especially after October 1. Two things. We kind of saw the worst that could happen in the community, but I saw the best come out of our community and all the support. And that was one of the things. If you came into UMC that Monday morning, it was business as usual. Everything was buttoned up. Patients were where they needed to be, and it was just the support outside the community that was overwhelmed us. You had everything from Girl Scouts showing up to Coca-Cola and Walmart, and just you didn't have to ask. But what we learned from that too is the long days. Even people behind the scenes when they're calling to finish up a record on a patient that that was shot in the head, and calling, getting verification and trying to support that they can get a bill and that type of thing. So we work very closely with UNLV Psychiatry. But we also look at self-care for healthcare. So if doctors and nurses and technicians can't take care of themselves, how do we expect them to take care of you and your family? So we've done a lot of things around work-life balance and recognizing it. One of the things that we're happy to report in January, there's a thing called a magnet hospital. So I equate it to, we know what a Michelin star restaurant is, right? Or a Baldrige Award winner. There's 2 states in Nevada, or 2 states in the country that do not have magnet hospitals. And it's really around culture, inclusion, collaboration, shared governance with staff, and so they can get their feedback. New Mexico and Nevada do not have any magnet hospitals. We've been on a 10-year journey to become a magnet facility. It's pretty much in the books. In January, we'll be able to announce that. Maybe we'll do that with your magazine. But with being a magnet, but a lot of that's around, making sure that the employee is whole and mentally and physically too. So, but we have to, and it's a tough job. I mean, every day there's something going on that we'll read in the paper tomorrow right now. So, but we recognize that as well. Yeah. And some days are worse than other. 4th of July, there's always people, barbecue accidents or fireworks and that type of thing. So, but yeah. No, the other way around. 80% male. Yeah. We have all those stats. So certainly the weekends pick up. Distracted drivers. I'm always on my kid. Like you see people on their phones walking across crosswalks. I mean, and meanwhile the driver's not doing the same thing. So you see a lot of things. Gun violence is we don't get into the gun ownership piece, but we get into the cost of not securing a weapon and not educating. We get in the cost of the physical and the financial cost of that. But yeah, it's certainly a Friday night at UMC is a busy one. Yeah.
We have time for one more question, and then would you all also get your tickets out for the door prize? Go ahead and get your door prize raffle ticket out.
Thank you for the questions. Yeah. If anybody wants to do a tour, let Robin know. We can give you a tour. Or Leadership Las Vegas is really good about coming over. But if you ever want to come by the hospital, we can show you some of this stuff that we're doing.
So I don't have a question, but I do want to commend you and your staff. My husband was admitted to your level 1 trauma unit, and without a doubt, Robin, Jerry, others can testify that there were some very dark, bleak days for 5 weeks while he was there, to the point we didn't know if God didn't intervene if he would survive. And I'm happy to say he did survive, and that God used your staff to bring about a miracle. And the quality of care that we received and the care of your staff, not just from a professional level, but from an emotional, supportive level, was so far above what I could have ever imagined because of all of the old UMC things we had heard. I even had people asking me, well, how is the care there? Is he getting good care? And I had to say, I don't think he would be where he is if he had not received the care that he did. So I want to thank you for the changes that you've made. And I want to commend you for continuing to pursue excellence in health care for our community. Because for many years we have heard, oh, we don't have good doctors, and we don't have this, and we don't have that. And I just want to say from a personal perspective, I've been a patient there, my husband's been a patient there, but the trauma one care that he received, the ICU care, and continuing follow-up was so exceptional. I want to thank you very much.
Thank you. That was very nice. And I'll make sure I share that back with the team. And it's one patient at a time. And that's what we're trying to do, and make that difference. And I know I don't have to, they're doing what we need them to do. It's hardwired now, so thank you for that.
Mason, thank you again. Merry Christmas to you. Another big hand for Mason Van Houweling. Thank you so much, Mason. Merry Christmas, everyone. Next month, in January, our speaker is Leon Patillo. Leon is the former lead singer of Santana. And he's a rocker, and he's amazing, and he's a good friend. He's just going to share really his heart for both reaching people through music as well as just sharing the gospel. So you're really going to appreciate his story, and he's just a dynamic guy. We might even get him to sing a couple songs. So if you'll bow your heads, we'll close in prayer. Gracious God, thank you so much for this talk that we received today from Mason. Thank you for all the amazing work that he and his incredible team, his staff, and all the amazing doctors and specialists are doing for the citizens of Clark County. We ask for blessing on him and his family. Give him rest this holiday season. I know it's going to be a busy one, a busy time, but Lord, just help him to finish strong this year and emerge in a way that would just springboard into a great 2026. Thank you too that you've blessed him and blessed us with his role with the American Hospital Association, and we just pray you bless his work with them. Father, thank you for all that he and the team does at UMC. God, thank you for this group. We ask for blessing now as we go our separate ways, and Lord, we give you glorified and lifted up during this Christmas season. In Jesus' name we all pray. Amen.